there can be this energy of, "Ooh, I don't wanna bring up my grief in
Okay,
this
yeah.
happy moment because the family is so happy right now, and I don't wanna bring everyone's vibe down." There's a few things probably going on there. One is that you're not the only one thinking that,
Yeah, likely.
and another is that the family is there to love you and support you. And if your family isn't a safe space to bring your grief up in, I'm so sorry. And maybe get a chosen family. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Full Time Grievers. Today, we are discussing a very tender topic that is often overlooked for everything except for like social media memes. I find that there's tons of social media memes about the topic today, which is holiday grief. Today, we're going to focus specifically on what people coin as the holidays, which in America usually consists of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, because that's a bunch of holidays crammed into a little amount of time, which can really compound when you're grieving and you have
Yeah.
to deal with all those things.
Yeah. Such a tender subject. And like
Mhm.
you're saying, we're not trying to talk about every holiday right now, keeping it focused on that sort of like end of year set of holidays that come together and are often ones where family might be gathering or not. And there might be events that you are invited to and you go to or not, things like that, that we have to
Mhm.
navigate as grievers.
Mhm.
And like you're saying, all in kind of close succession.
Yeah, it's a lot all at once.
Yeah. Yeah. So where should we start?
I think that, I wanna, like, start by naming a few kind of roads that different listeners might be on so people can kind of self-identify where they are. One road would be someone who has a close relationship with their family, and they lost someone, so now the constellation of who their family is has changed.
Mhm.
And the holiday is sort of this passing of time moment where we realize, "Oh, this happened last Christmas." You kind of it's a time of reflection often, and that can create a lot of pain. And then another road that a listener might be on is someone that doesn't have family or doesn't have close relationships with family, and that in and of itself is the thing to be grieved.
Yeah, so thinking about those 2, you know, possibilities for that many of us will be navigating one or the other of, at least, maybe even some combination of the 2 in some cases. Let's take the first one, where your family constellation has changed and there are events that you go to and, even if, uh, I guess I wanna broaden it a little bit to even if the actual family unit hasn't changed, you being the carrier of the grief, you've changed in the unit. So, like, there's the version where someone who was there in the family isn't there, and that comes up in the holiday celebration with everyone. There's also the version where just for you, your person isn't around anymore, but you're still having to go and navigate the holiday family gathering as you otherwise normally would.
Mhm.
I think in both cases, there's a thing that can happen around holidays and for grievers where it's like you're saying, another year is gone and they're still not here, or like we're all gathering and they don't get to gather again.
Yeah, and that can just create so much heartache. And I think it's just so important to really tend to yourself, to really tune in to your needs and really, really ramp up the self-care. And this is gonna sound I hope this doesn't sound harsh. This might be a really potent time for you to grieve.
Mm.
You have the time off of work, I hope. You hopefully have the support of your other family members around. And so it can be a time to use the support systems and the spaciousness of the holidays to get some of the grieving done that otherwise gets pushed back and dismissed in the busyness of the the chaos of capitalism.
I love that you're bringing that up because like for those of us in the northern hemisphere, it is a darker time of year. It's for many of us, it is kind of more insular. We're doing our inside projects. If we live in places where it gets cold, those kinds of things where we there is kind of a natural drawing inward already, and then like you're saying, often the context is that we have some time off from work, whether it's the whole holiday or not. There's, like some things are closed, so there's fewer things to go out and do. There's an opportunity there for grieving, which not all of us necessarily think of as an opportunity. Like, woohoo! I get to do some grieving, but having the space for it, as you know, and as I know, and as we help our people know, is so important. Like to give ourselves the time to take the time when we have it, and so at this particular portal of the calendar year, there is this like time that is often available or that is easier to lean into for grieving, which is a powerful juxtaposition from the lights and the shiny and the capitalism part, but also the like celebration part and the like getting together and the feasting and the all the to do part.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's kinda counterculture, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think I think there is room for that for sure. Like if that's our leaning and we want to like do something that's more meaningful or true for us, then yeah, we can lean out from as much of the like I don't know, like performative festivity, let's call it, as feels right to us. Like there might
Performative. I like that.
yeah,
Performative festivity. You don't have to do it.
yeah. There might still be things that we enjoy, like maybe we still want to light a candle, but we don't want to put up a whole tree if that's the thing that you would otherwise do.
Mhm. Yeah, so this is your permission to all listeners that you get to do what you want to do, which is
Yeah.
always the case, actually.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, you don't have to check all of the boxes. If it feels good for you to do that, then go for it, and if it feels laborious and cumbersome and you just wanna lay in bed and cry, that's really healthy. That's normal. That's okay.
And I think there's room for a bit of both, right? Like finding
Yeah.
like, oh, well, that event that actually feels like something I want to lean into. I could do it in the way that's right for me, or however you talk to yourself about it. If you have the lean in, go ahead and go for it, knowing that even while there, your grief may come up, and that may be something that you're carrying. As bright and shiny as it is there, you're kind of maybe carrying this kind of personal ache along with you, and that's
Mhm.
part of the thing. And then other times to take the right care of yourself, to give the room for where you are in your process right then. Yeah, maybe it is right to lean out.
And I've seen some people even do this collectively as a family, that they take the holiday, they know they're all gonna be in it in the holiday grief, and they do something that day that specifically honors the person who passed. So they, for example, like, if the person who passed loved to run marathons, they might, like, find a 5K on Christmas morning, and they might all just walk the 5K together to honor that person. And so there are events that go on, and you can collectively grieve in this way, and it takes a bit of forethought and organizing, but that's a beautiful way to use the spaciousness and transform the energy and process the grief in a way that is just like feels good. Feels good to do that. It doesn't feel like we're ignoring it or we're going to pretend like everything is normal. And I think that's the most painful is when families try to pretend like everything's normal, but it's not.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, and so everyone's kind of like, we're having a good time. We're being festive. We're not talking about this, painful person, the situation that we're navigating alongside it, or we're not talking about our person, or we're avoiding subjects that might come close to them. Oh, yeah, that can be such a, and I don't know, like, I think of it like almost like torture. It's like a
Yeah.
form of torture.
It is
Uh,
torture. That's a good way of saying it.
yeah. And I think a lot of times we talk ourselves into something like, oh, just going along with it, or just putting on a happy face, or not thinking about, or not talking about, our person, because we don't want to be a burden. We want to, like give ourselves the opportunity to enjoy life, and, those kinds of things. And I think that it at least has the potential to rob us of some of the real meaning that is available in holiday, like, expressions or celebrations.
Say more about that.
Well, like with what you're describing, like you and your family have have co-lost a loved one, and you're navigating that together. And so you get together at the holidays, and some people have the tendency of like, oh, we're celebrating. We're not talking about the person. But like you're saying, if we instead recognize that all of us are probably going to have something come up over the holidays around the person because we love them and they're not here, and that's meaningful to all of us, and to actually pick a way to honor them during the holidays, like do the 5K walk, where you then get to actually bring them into the holiday together. We're not just
Mhm.
avoiding the, them and avoiding our grief, we're allowing it to be encompassed by
Mhm.
the holiday celebration that we're choosing together.
Mhm. Play their favorite album.
Yes. Oh, what a brilliant idea. Yes. Yeah. Something as
Go
simple as that.
to the museum of the topic that they were the most passionate about.
Yeah. 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 Or if there were particular, holiday things that they got into, like they like to go, drive around and see the lights. Do that
Mhm.
with the family, or do
Mhm.
that on your own if you're the only one who's interested in it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. The particular things that they maybe really enjoyed that, you know, n other folks in the family don't necessarily get into as much, but you can do as a way to celebrate them too.
And I wanna speak to there can be this energy of, "Ooh, I don't wanna bring up my grief in this
Yeah.
happy moment because the family is so happy right now, and I don't wanna bring everyone's vibe down."
Yeah.
There's a few things probably going on there. One is that you're not the only one thinking that,
Yeah, likely.
and another is that the family is there to love you and support you.
Hmm.
And if your family isn't a safe space to bring your grief up in, I'm so sorry. And, maybe get a chosen family.
Yeah. That's actually well, okay, so I mean, it's a really tender space, but yeah, for some of us, attending the family celebrations, and especially if it was a family member that's now, departed, and the family can't hold us in our grief at the holiday time, then yeah, finding a chosen family, friends, other celebrations that we can go to where our grief would be allowed.
Or that one safe relative.
Yeah. Yeah, at the holiday with the family one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, finding your way to get to have your grief and the celebration too, if that's
Mhm,
what's right for you. Yeah. And whether it's with your family and one person who's the right person in the family, or
mhm.
like you're saying, a chosen family, either way, I think we owe it to ourselves to get to have that. Yeah.
And I think the most painful part of this is if you just try to ignore it and try to not grieve at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's much, much, much more painful than
Yeah.
any of these other alternatives we're offering.
Yeah. And the holidays can be a place where we are much more likely to do some tamping down, or some stuffing, or some ignoring, in order to just try and either get along with the family celebration or to give ourselves a chance to have some fun again. Because for many of us, especially in more acute or active grieving periods, we're less likely to get to be having as much fun. So we can put more pressure on ourselves to do that in the holiday times. So just really like as much as we can and however we can and wherever we can, remembering to give ourselves permission to come back to it. Like maybe we do choose to go to the family gathering or go to the friend gathering or go to the event that, has none of our people at it, but it's just a cool event we want to go to. And we give ourselves over to that as fully as we can while we're there. Like I would never say pretend that your person isn't gone, but like as close to that as you might be willing to get for that little, succinct period, and then come home from that and give yourself room to attend or be with the grief that you were kind of holding at bay while you were at the festivities.
Mhm. That's a beautiful recommendation.
Well, in that way, it doesn't have to be either or, right? We get to eat cake and still have cake. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so what about for the people who don't have family, aren't close to their families, don't have much community, are just on the more lonely side of the holidays and see all the happy families around them, and it's it's kind of this time where the ache of being alone aches harder. What would you
Mm.
say to those people?
Yeah. I think during the holidays is a chance when all of us grievers will have a potential for compounded experience, more grief coming in just because our person's not there, or just because, we don't get to reach out to them now, or just because it's another holiday where they're still not here. Those kinds of things can happen for all of us grievers. But I think especially for those of us who don't have like regular celebrations that we would go to, or family, things that are kind of anchors in our holiday season, or friend groups that we're, frequenting, hanging out with, then the isolation can be another element that we're grieving alongside of the loss of our person. And we may have, like, even before we lost the person, if we have holidays like that frequently, then that can be a source of grieving that we're already doing. Anytime holidays come up, I don't have people to be with. I don't have, people that care about me or want to, like whatever the story we might be telling ourselves. So to have both of those layered in together can be such a painful experience to be navigating at a time when we're seeing all these like celebrations and people like, like supposedly having such a great time. And there's movies about having the great time and asking people to marry each other, on the holidays. And so it can really seem like everyone else is doing okay now but me, which I think is just like, oh, I feel so much tenderness for someone being in that spot. I have been there for a couple of holidays myself where I didn't have anyone that I could reach out to or didn't have anyone that I was connecting with. But by and large, I've been really blessed to have people around me that, I can reach out to or connect with when it's right for me to do so. So I just feel such tremendous tenderness and compassion for folks who really have the sense that there's not someone that they can reach out to.
Yeah, likewise. I think that so much of the pain in this situation can stem from comparison.
Mhm.
And so this month might be a really good time to stay off of social media.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a gift to yourself.
Yeah, and social media is just the epitome of the pain of comparison.
Mhm.
And so it's a really good time to not engage with that and to really tune in to what nourishes you and what fills you up and to try to give that to yourself. And maybe that looks like taking a walk every day. Maybe that looks like planning a ski trip and doing something really, really fun on the holidays and kind of making it your own time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love those, ideas. I love the agency in that for one, because, often we think, especially around holiday time or something like that, like if we don't have people to reach out to, then there's nothing we can do. But I love the way that you're putting it where we can take on I wanna say, like, the gift giving opportunity to tend to ourselves at an extra level. Like, okay, it's the holidays. I don't have people that I can go like party with or like go, do a family celebration with. I am going to gift myself that spa day that I've been wanting that I haven't done, or I'm going to get a massage. And I love the idea of massage in particular because you're getting touch, which is so useful. And it's professional. They know what they're doing. They're going to help you like therapeutically, but you're also really getting neurochemical benefits of connection, something like that, or going to like I was just picturing there's so many cool choral events that happen around the holidays, and like going and like listening to some people singing, can be such a it can actually be a really transformative kind of experience, to
Mhm.
give yourself that and to give over to the artistry of that, you know. And especially when you don't have people, going to something that comes with people is can be kind of a fun element to bring in as well.
Yeah, and to add to that, if there's any organization you've ever been curious about volunteering with, the
Yes.
holidays
Oh
is
my gosh.
often a time where they lose a lot of their volunteers. I'm
Mhm.
thinking like animal shelters and soup kitchens. And so it's a really good time to go and be of service because
Yeah.
being of service to other people is some of the best medicine for a broken heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's powerful science behind that too, because when we're involved in acts of compassion, and especially if we're not like a parent or a volunteer, and like if our lifestyle isn't geared toward doing that 24/7 already, then choosing activities that are really like us giving to others or us like taking care of others can be such a powerful parasympathetic hit, which is restorative to the nervous system, helps us have more resilience. It can also be a way to have like not like distance necessarily from the grief, but kind of cushion around our grief emotionally, which makes it can make it easier to be with when it does come up. So yeah, I love that version. And again, the one of the genius parts of that suggestion of volunteering in a soup kitchen or something like that is you're getting to be with other people, and you don't have to be like all up in their faces to get the benefit of that kind of interaction. It can be across like a soup tub or whatever you're serving from, and still like the smile on their faces, the eye contact that you make, the gesture of giving them something is really powerful for your own nervous system.
Wow, thanks for backing that up with science.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I really love that idea. And okay, so that I think opens up even more possibility. There's events that you can go to if you feel like doing that, especially events that are, that have people or have people performing a thing. There's volunteering that you can do where you can be with people or animals. I think is a really brilliant idea too, like you were saying, because they're it's often way easier to love on than another human. Sorry, humans, that's just the way it is. Cute, cuddly pets, are so easy to like love on, and they really get our oxytocin going, which is so helpful for us navigating like holiday grief stress and isolation stress.
Yeah.
So I really love that idea. And then two, along the lines of the self care that we were talking about, there are fun things or interesting things that we can do, activities we can do, like around where I live in Missoula. This time of year is still a perfect time to get out and do like a really cool hike. I have had such tremendous holiday hikes before, where I was the only person I knew in town, and I was just like, I got this whole day. The town's basically shut down. Let me just, and I would literally walk from my house to the woods, and that would be like the whole day. So something like that can also be a really powerful way to getting out in nature specifically, can be a really powerful way to be with yourself around that time, do something that's restorative to you. And out in nature, you have the benefit of the kind of network capacity of nature itself that can hold some of that grief with you. You can even like you can howl, you can shout your person's name out there. You can like maybe this is going a little too far, but I've even put my person's initials, Edward's initials, on, like, a piece of bark and left it in the woods before, like, things like that that you can just make ritual of as you're out there.
Mhm. So I'm hearing some themes. I think one theme is connection,
Yeah,
and
that
that
is
can be
so
connection in nature or to humans, in a volunteering opportunity, or in a event that sounds fun for you to attend. It can be to animals
and with your person.
and connecting with your person. And connection really is such a powerful antidote to isolation. I mean,
Mhm.
it's the antidote to isolation. And then the other theme that I'm hearing is boundaries. And it can be so tempting to isolate this time of year because it seems like if you have friends, they're all off busy with their families, or if you don't want to be around your family, or if you don't have a family, it can be so easy to fall into isolation. And this is a really important time of year to fight a little bit harder to not get isolated and to stay in connection.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
This episode is brought to you by the Center for Emotional Education and Sacramento Reiki Center, where we support full time grievers every day. Many of our clients have tried everything and it still hasn't been enough. After our work together, they gain the tools and skills that they need to navigate their grief on their own. You can get more information at sacramentoreikicenter.com and centerforoemotionaleducation.com.
I appreciate you, like, really underscoring that in the way that you're doing, and I think too, like, again, neurochemically, it's easy to think, "Well, I don't wanna be around people. I'm not gonna be, like, the life of the party. I'm bummed out. My person's not here, and it's the holidays, and so I'll just stay turtled up." Or, it's an effort or, it's scary out there. Lots of ways that we can talk ourselves out of it and think, I'll just get through it and then it'll be okay, and I'll get back to work or whatever. But what you're talking about there with literally using connection of whatever variety, and it's like you're saying, connection with ourself is one that counts, like doing the self-care, connection with nature, connection with other people, connection with animals, connection with our person who's gone. That's like a really powerful handful of opportunities to like each one of those could bring in oxytocin, which is not just going to help us have the sense of being connected with, which is huge, and a literal neurochemical antidote to the experience of isolation, like you're saying, but also oxytocin turns down cortisol, which is the stress often associated with stress, the neurohormone that we feel that is released when we feel stress, among other things. But particularly around stress and holiday stress and grieving stress and isolation stress, making sure that we get healthy doses of oxytocin wherever we can. It doesn't change our situation. It doesn't make it so that we're not, like we're still the one person that we are. Our person's still gone. We're still like we don't have as much community around us as we would like, but we have neurochemically changed the experience. And so we'll feel differently about it, even if we're still going, even if we're still alone more than we would like, because we've neurochemically changed the mixture in here.
Wow. You hear that, guys? Neurochemically change your holidays with
That's right.
connection.
That's right. Change your mixer with neurochemistry. Yeah, yeah. So, okay, so what's the third one? Boundaries you were bringing in.
Yeah, so I think that the other theme that I'm noticing from our discussion today is boundaries, and that having boundaries on what you will attend, what you won't attend, what content you will take in, what content you won't take in, what feels good for you to do. Just and to have a good boundary, it requires so much self-attunement. So you kinda need to go back to connection to self there that we just discussed and
Yeah,
get lots
yeah,
and lots of connection to yourself. And from that, you can feel into what will be nourishing for you or what might be nourishing for you and what won't be. And then you can create your experience using that information as
yeah,
opposed to just chugging along, jumping through all the hoops or doing things the same way that you have for the last however many years that you've been struggling with holiday grief.
yeah, yeah. And I think there's room here too to like for those of you who this might be of interest to like bring your kind of countercultural self, like or at least a cultural reframe, like you can opt out of things that you want to opt out, especially if
Mhm.
that's what your grief wants. You're allowed to do that. You can say no to performing festivity. You can go with slowness instead of like all the fast paced stuff. You can go with solitude if that's what's more right for you. Even thinking of it as like, like this is my like personal protest. Like I'm gonna go slow. I'm gonna do like me time because that's what's right for me in my grieving, or resting more during the holidays. A lot of times we get just all like, well, I gotta go to this event, I gotta go to that event, I gotta do that party, I gotta do that thing, gotta get these gifts for those people instead of sort of like refusing to perform that for the comfort of others,
Yeah, and
essentially.
I just wanna highlight one little part of that. Guys, there's a little secret I wanna tell you, like, really listen, okay?
Yeah,
Turn your ears up.
lean in.
Lean in. This is the secret. You don't have to buy anyone presents. You don't have to. Everyone will be fine. So if you don't want to, if that doesn't bring you joy, if that brings you stress, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah. It's a radical idea, but you can do it.
I believe in your ability to not buy everyone presents.
Yeah, yeah,
Or rap or
yeah,
anything.
yeah. One of these things. This is sort of like all dovetailing for me, and sort of like an opportunity that we can create for ourselves if this is right for us. There are other grievers that we know that probably are around us or that we have access to. You can actually create a little community gathering of grievers instead.
Mhm.
Sort of like holiday misfits or holiday ambivalent. like and like see if you can like create some different festivities that are right for you all.
Yeah, and I'm gonna come out, I'm kind of a Grinch. I don't care for Christmas, which really surprises everyone. Every time
You're such a giving and generous person. You're it is the kind of thing people be like, "What?"
yeah. And every time Christmas rolls around, I'm kinda like, "Oh, Christmas, we have to do this again." And you're also just allowed to be a Grinch. That's okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can just be like, "Yeah, we don't need Christmas. I'm gonna go skiing."
yeah, yeah. If that's what's right for you, I think you definitely can give yourself permission for that, right? Like
Yeah,
there have definitely been years I was like, "Fuck that stuff," and that was what was right for me, and
yeah.
I'm still here. I didn't explode. I think you can trust yourself with that too. And I love that you're bringing in the Grinch as kind of the archetype of that, especially because at the end, the Grinch, has a huge heart again.
Oh, no.
Um, but but also like there's this element of like we think of that as like the antithesis of the holiday spirit, but we can like however we actually wind up navigating that, we can we can give ourselves that. We can either go that far of like where we're kind of like at home or where it feels right for us, we're kind of like giving the bird to Christmas, or like that's this whole operation, and we can trash talk it as much as we want to if that's what's right for us. And, we don't necessarily have to go that far if all we're thinking is, "I don't wanna go to the Blinken holiday I don't wanna go to that party." Great, you don't have to, right?
Yeah.
You can, for that hour, be as Grinchy as you wanna be about it or whatever,
Or for the whole month.
Yeah,
Every
that's
time
right,
you go into the
that's
store,
right.
you
Yeah,
can be Grinchy at all the decorations.
yeah,
I am. I'm like,
yes.
It's Christmas in September. Come on, Costco."
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, that I think that I love that, again, using the archetype of the Grinch, I think gives us room to go as far in that direction as is right for us.
Mhm.
And just like when navigating our grief and our grieving process, we want to do that in the way that's right for us. I think too, like bringing our grief through the holidays, we want to navigate that in the way that's right for us too. So even if it means like, screw it.
Mhm. I think there's also a lot of shame around being a Grinch, like, the Grinch is a very shamed character, and so people who are Grinchy are kind of like they're like, "Oh, I don't wanna do this," but they kinda keep it to themselves because it's gonna get shamed,
Mm.
and I'm just a shameless Grinch.
So you're like, I don't like that holiday. I'm not doing it like to your people.
I mean, I do it, I show up to the things, but they're all like, and I'm just down here like, "It's good to see you. I'm glad that there's an occasion that brings us together. I love you."
Hmm. Ugh, I'm so glad you're giving us the example too.
Yeah.
I think that's really powerful, and hopefully we'll give people more permission to navigate it in the way that's right for them too. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes, yes. So yeah, having the boundaries that are right for us, and I think some of that is important to navigate with ourselves ahead of time, so we're not caught off guard in the moment. We're like, oh, I got a boundary there, and you're stepping over it, and I don't know what to do. So like, sort of investigating ahead of time. Is this the kind of event that is gonna be good for me where I am in my grieving process? Is it gonna be regulating for me? Is it gonna be, like, pleasant for me or not? And having that sense ahead of time, and that can give us permission to not go if we don't wanna go, or at least permission to be like, "Okay, I'm here, but I know it's not necessarily gonna be like everything everyone else thinks it's supposed to be," right? It's me being here, knowing what this is like for me, or having a sense of it in advance.
Yeah.
Or preparing ahead of time, an exit phrase, like, "I love you guys, but I need a breather," or "I love you guys, but I gotta go," or, "This is so great to see you all, but my grief is calling." Or whatever is right for you to, like, give yourself the either temporary or, like, "Okay, now I'm done with this event, out."
Oh, pets are such good excuses for this. "Oh, I have to go let my dog out."
Yeah. Yeah, perfect.
They'll be like, "You just got here." I'm like, "Oh, but I was, like, running a bunch of errands before this.
Yeah.
I didn't just leave my house. My dog really has to pee."
Yeah. Yeah. Yes.
I have a relative and it's her chickens. She shows up to family events for, like, 1 hour, and then after an hour, she's like, "I have to go take care of my chickens." I'm like, "Cool. It was
That's
great
so
to see you."
funny. It's
Yeah.
like the least likely animals to need a lot of caring.
Nope, it's her chickens.
You basically just close them up at night.
It'll
That's
be, like,
the
3
caring.
PM, and she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I have to go put my chickens away."
Yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah.
gosh, that's great. Yeah, whatever you need, like, get a chicken, get a parakeet if you need to, like, "Gotta go home and take care of my
Get a
parakeet."
rock.
Yeah,
Like, "Oh, my rock needs me."
that's right. Yes. Oh, I like that we're having fun with it. And, like, you can be playful with it and still own your boundary, like, "Oh, you guys are having so much fun. I'm getting the hell out of here. See you later." Like,
Yeah.
you can be light and still own what's true for you.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think it is important to investigate ahead of time. Is this gonna be something that's right for me right now or not? To have an exit phrase, and then I think when we're going into if we've decided to go to an event, whether it's with our family or like the choral event that's happening and we're just going by ourselves, taking some time ahead of time to tend to ourselves, make sure that we're going in as best we can, whether it's, you know, doing some regulating practices like, I don't know, 10 to 20, like nice, really long exhale breaths, before you go in, or noticing and naming for yourself like 5 feelings you have about going to this event. And then like, oh, like those feelings make sense. Give yourself a little
Mhm.
empathy for them. Or I don't know. What about you? What about you, Selysa? What's a thing that you would do to help yourself be ready to go into an event?
I'm a highly sensitive person, and something that I do is once I arrive at the destination, I park and I turn off the car, and I just close my eyes for as long as I want to,
Nice.
and then I go inside when I'm ready.
Yeah.
So I take
So
a moment of intentional pause between finishing driving and going into very stimulating environments, and that's super helpful for me to
yeah,
stay attuned to myself the whole time as opposed to rushing in even if I'm late. Even if
yeah.
I'm late, I still give myself at least 30 seconds.
That's brilliant. I love that. And you can actually use that technology anytime. You just like go to the bathroom and close your eyes, while
Yeah.
you're sitting there, while, after you've done your business. And that same thing can help. It's like really giving the nervous system a literal break from stimulus.
Yeah.
You can even
The
do, you know,
the
cover your
technology of
eyes.
the eyelids.
Yeah. Yeah.
You all have the technology.
Yeah. It also happens to be really good for your eyes to take a little break like that during your day where you can
Oh,
really
perfect.
relax your eyes.
Mhm.
So those of you with aging eyes, that can really help you.
Good to know.
Yeah. And I think too, along those lines, while you're at the party, there are things that you can do, like what we're describing here, that can help turn down the stimulus or help make it a little bit easier for you to be there. Anchoring can be a really great thing to do. Like you can bring an anchor, like your own little crystal or something that you have in your pocket that you hold on to or you find whenever the stimulus is getting too much or the grief is coming to the surface or anything like that. Just feel more comfortable. You can also find anchors in the rooms where you are, like I don't know, a plant that you particularly like, or maybe someone else has a crystal on their table or a cool statue or a cool painting or something like that, that you really feel, well, anchors you. It feels grounding. It feels centering. It feels like pleasant to look at. And whenever the stimulus of the party gets to be, a little bit much, you sort of bring your focus to the thing.
Mhm.
And like you would if you close your eyes, spend about 10, 20, 30 seconds just enjoying the beauty of that, or keep going back there with your gaze, frequently enough that you're reminding yourself that it's there with you. I also bring Edward with me if I'm going to something like that, anything that I think is going to be a big deal for me in my grief. I'll call my brother in to be with me through this. I think that's especially useful for us grievers.
Mhm. Or a memento, like, something you can put in your pocket, specifically that, like, was that person's.
Yeah.
Super powerful.
I've also always got one of those in my pocket too.
Beautiful.
And then I think too, whether you go out and you give yourself the room to do events out, whether they're with your family or not, or chosen family, or, big public events, I think too, it can be useful to have something at home that's kind of grounding you through like, or honoring the grieving that you're doing at the same time. So, like, I have even though it's not the holidays yet, or some of the holidays are happening. But I often have a candle going. I'll just put it that way. You can light one. You can say their name. You can make sure that you've sort of dedicated it to them. And then each time you see it, you're sort of retuned to, yeah, that's part of what's with me in this season too.
Mhm.
And each time I sometimes, depending on the candle, I'll blow it out at night, and so I'll say a little thing when I blow it out, and I say a little thing when I relight it. Other times I'll leave it, and so then each time I see it still burning, it's a reminder, or I'll say a little thing, or I'll wink to Edward. Things like that can be really just small, succinct, but powerful carriers through the season with us.
Mhm. Yes. Anchor yourselves.
Yeah, yeah. And then we've probably said it or intimated it a little bit already, but along the lines of boundaries, I think recovery time too. Like, okay, yeah, you were ready, you went out to, you did the thing, it was a cool event, you got yourself through it, or maybe it was like fantastic. Still recognizing that as a griever, there will it will be useful to have downtime after that, where the grief has room to come up, or we just get to rest because we were putting out at the level that we were. So making sure that we pad our holiday time with recovery.
Oh, that's so important. So, so, so important.
Well, what about for you? Like, what's sort of like an ending nugget, if you will, or ending encouragement that you want to
Yeah,
send people?
I was about to give a little thing.
Yeah.
I think what I want to end with is that this time of year, the nights are long and the days are short. And that is nature's way of indicating to us that this is the time for deeper rest and for less activity. So, to really tune in to what your body needs and wants in order to navigate this time as gracefully as you can.
About that. Yes. I think I want to leave folks with just the encouragement that you get to decide what's right,
Mhm.
what's enough, and what's too much, what's just right. You get to
You get to
decide.
decide. Yes.
Hey, thanks for listening to Full Time Grievers. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you find out when we release the next episode. If you have thoughts or questions about what we shared, please leave them in the comments below. And if this episode made you think of someone, we invite you to send it to them. They could probably use it. Also, don't forget to get your free Receiving Support While Grieving guide in the show notes below.